The first clock on today is the 15th of April, 2026, 3 p.m. We're in the Tom Baker Meeting Room to conduct the Historic Preservation Commission meeting. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sackerson. Commissioner Nodland.
Here.
Commissioner Zanker. Commissioner Hall.
Here.
Commissioner Perrin.
Here.
Commissioner Swanson.
Here.
And Chair Engel.
Here. Thank you. Let's see, the Historic Preservation Report is in the packet for anybody's perusal. There were only 2 things that we've reviewed so far this year. It's pretty light. The public comment period is open to anyone in the public interested in commenting on any of the agenda items or the prior Historic Preservation Committee agenda. Do we have anybody? Nope, nobody's on right now. So we'll move on to the approval of meeting minutes. Did you guys have time to look those over?
I move to approve.
I second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, please call.
Commissioner Nodland.
Yes.
Commissioner Perrin.
Yes.
Commissioner Hall.
Yes.
Commissioner Swanson.
Yes.
And Chair Engel.
Yes. All right. Moving on to the 2024 Historic Preservation Fund grant update. Lauren?
Thank you, Chair Engel and Commissioners. The consultant for the South Capitol Survey has submitted the remaining 162 site forms to the State Historic Preservation Office for its review. This includes 111 site forms and 51 updated site forms. The additional forms for the sites that needed site form updates were also provided to the State Historic Preservation Office, as well as to the Historic Preservation Commission earlier this month. As those are more so updates rather than a full new site form, it wasn't provided with the previous items that were submitted last month. A copy of the letter that the consultant submitted with the forms to the State Historic Preservation Office is included within the packet. At the March 2026 meeting, staff provided a suggestion to the Commission to utilize some of the remaining funds for the 2024 Historic Preservation Fund grant. The suggestion involved the consultant for the project hosting a presentation on information discovered from the project. The Commission was open to the idea, but stated that $3,000 was too much to spend for just a presentation alone. The Commission discussed having a summary text document created as well for that. The Commission did request that the consultant provide a breakdown of the potential costs for those items, as well as a scope for that. The consultant did submit information regarding the public outreach opportunity, and that should be attached within the packet for you. One other note that was brought to staff's attention yesterday, Wilmore Elementary is holding an open house on May 6th. From 4 to 6, Wilmore is within the boundaries of the South Capitol Survey. The Historic Preservation Commission was invited to have a small booth at that event to share resources on Bismarck's history, historic preservation, and potentially any items related to that South Capitol Survey project. This could be a potential opportunity to share information on the National Register process, as well as additional information on the South Capitol Survey. The consultant noted that a fact sheet on that project for this might be able to be created, but might not include all the information at this point in time, as the report for that survey is still in the draft process. So staff recommends that the Historic Preservation Commission review the submitted public outreach scope and fee information and provide direction to staff on this item.
All right, is there any discussion?
Yeah, Chair Engel, other commissioners. The one thing that I noticed about the breakdown is that there's no breakdown between the like presentation and how much the presentation would actually, like the gathering of the presentation and presenting it compared to the brochure and distributing that out. I'd be curious out of the $2,400, how much of that is actually based off of the presentation itself? Because I think that was the main thing in question last month.
Yes.
Chair
Commissioner
Engel. Commissioner Perrin, I guess from where she put that the whole proposal was 24 hours at $100 an hour, or, you know, that, I mean, that's, you know, I guess 2.5 days, and the presentation itself is an hour, and I'd imagine the creating the slideshow, the example that they used at Highland Acres was pretty detailed, the slide presentation, and I know that she was there, part of putting that together. So I think putting the presentation together itself is at least a day probably. Okay. And so that leaves a day and a half probably, I'm guessing, for the production of the document. So it seems like 2.5 days to do the prep work and the slideshow, and then give it, and then I guess that was from reading it that I'm assuming, but if you need further information from her, that's.
Right, yeah, I was just wondering, based off of like the presentation itself and the brochure, what would the difference be in like the labor behind both of them, I guess? Just out of the curiosity, if the presentation is really something that we were questioning on doing. If the presentation itself was only $600 compared out of the whole 2,400, just out of an assumption, or is it half of the cost kind of thing? So it's just something that I noticed, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, reading between the lines here to her breakdown between the tasks, I would say the content development is by far the heavy lift. Yeah. The presentation is just
For
finding a
both.
venue for, yeah.
Both the the PowerPoint and the print presentation, right?
Yeah.
It's at least a day and a half.
Right.
But
How do people feel about the total cost, knowing that it's basically 24 hours of time? Hello, Amy. Welcome.
Chair Engel, Commissioners, I mean, I don't know if we've come up with any other ideas in the time frame to use up the remaining budget. So personally, I'm okay with it. You know, it seems fairly reasonable in hours to put that together, and it'll be the most efficient if it's fresh in mind.
Yeah. And there are, how many properties are we talking about? That's a lot.
Like one,
to sort
almost
through.
200, yeah.
Yeah. Just to select photos. I'm glad that's not my job. But
Yeah.
I would agree that I think that's reasonable for a time frame to put something together for both the presentation and the handout.
And I'd say it's like, unless, was it another 600 left? We had 3,000?
Commissioner Hall, Chair, Commissioners, I believe around 600 left over, yes. Another option to use the remaining 600, we did get a quote for 4,000 brochures for the baseball history. We could up that a couple thousand more if we're planning to utilize it over the next couple years to hand out. And the Larks Baseball is interested in helping distribute those during games as well.
Yes.
Chair Engel, and Lauren, are there any costs associated with having this public meeting? Is there a cost for printing if it's in a neighborhood and it's like there was in Highland Acres, 100 people there?
Depending, Commissioner Nodland, Chair, Commissioners, depending on the quality of the printout, if we're talking just basic paper, the planning department typically has that amount within its budget to accommodate that. But if we're looking for, glossier paper, more of a formal brochure, similar to how we have our other brochures done, that might be additional cost right there. It really depends on if we're looking to print in-house or looking to sub that out.
I would think if this is a handout for just delivering basically the premise of what the project was, it's not going to be like, it's not like the walking tour maps that people are going to be referencing a lot, that I would think that the lower printing cost is just fine with that quality. We don't have to go high-end with the glossy brochures or anything. Yeah, with no bedazzling.
Commissioner Nodlin, to your other point for cost of the location, we have had an offer from Trinity Lutheran Church to utilize their space to host the public event as well.
Any further discussion on that?
Do you need a motion to use the remaining 600 for the extra prints?
I would
For the
prefer-
baseball ones, I mean?
Yeah, I'd prefer to have a formal motion to utilize the 2,400 for this item and the remaining amount for the brochures, if possible, just to make it clear, as well as meet any additional items that the state might have for this.
I'm willing to make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hull.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Nodlin. Any other discussion before we move?
Okay.
Okay. Please call.
Commissioner Perrin,
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Sackerson,
Do I abstain?
Yeah, you might have to.
Yeah, I abstain.
Commissioner Nodlin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hall,
Yes.
and Chair Engel.
Yes, motion passes. All right, I think we have, once again, allocated funds. Same thing. Different things, same money. Moving on to the Historic Preservation Award.
Thank you, Chair Engel and Commissioners. 2 nominations for the Historic Preservation Award under the Historic Education and Awareness category were submitted within the application window. The first nomination was for Chris Anderson and his presentation on the history of the Bismarck Fire Department. The second nomination was for Stacy Sturm and her Downtown Haunted History Tour. Both were nominated by others who filled out the online application form for the award. Staff and Commissioners Sackerson and Swanson conducted an initial review of the submitted information. The form included category-specific questions, which were used as the basis for the award criteria. A copy of the award guidelines internal review form and both nominations are included in the packet. Based on this review, a selection of Chris Anderson for the 2026 award is recommended. If the Historic Preservation Commission decides to grant the Historic Preservation Award to a nominee, staff will work to have the award presented at the next available City Commission meeting with acceptance by the nominee.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Any discussion about that? Questions? Commissioner Nodlin?
Could we get a report from any subcommittee members who are on that of how the process went and if we had new guidelines this year? I don't,
Commissioner
not
Swanson?
details, just general.
I think we felt comfortable with all of the categories that we had, and I think now, did we decide at the meeting that we were going to weight them? And you changed the top of the column now, so it says 1 through 10. But and between Commissioner Sackerson and myself, we both came out about the same number-wise, weighted-wise for the ones that won and the second place. So I think do you have anything else to add to that?
No, it's it wasn't as if we had a million of them
Right.
to go through. It's just like, well, are we doing it on a scale of 1 to, oops, sort of the scribble, scribble, scribble and start from scratch. So, yeah, it went easily enough and we had good discussion on the merits of both, so I think it was
Commissioner
positive.
Noblin, did you have a specific question about how the criteria were laid out?
Yeah, I'm just
or-
wondering, because this was the first time we used criteria like this, so
Mhm.
are we good for next year, or do we need to readdress it at all?
I thought it worked,
I think it worked fine too. I didn't have any issues.
yeah.
Yeah. Once we decided to weight the, not just a yes or no, but we gave it a 1 through 10, and it worked out fine.
Yeah, they all have yeses, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, no, the weight is definitely
No, I
a
think
better
that
way
the
to do it, especially if you're
Criterion
more.
worked well.
Right,
Good,
right.
all right. All right, then can I get a?
No, Chair Engel, Commissioners, would, I don't know, since to encourage participation would be worthwhile to send like, sort of like a congratulatory letter to the, the second place finisher, we'll say. Just, since they didn't self-nominate, to know that someone called them out and, just recognize their effort, even if they didn't, get the special award,
Yeah, an appreciation
they
letter.
were recognized.
I would be very okay with that. Yes, Commissioner Noblin.
Chair Engel, one thing that I noticed is that one of the criteria is that the building owner or the individual being nominated must know and must agree to it, and is supposed to agree to it in writing. So I think that my question would be, are we congratulating the nominee, or are we congratulating because in both of the
nominator.
cases this year, it was a different person was nominated.
Yes, Commissioner Sacks.
Chair Engel, Commissioners. It seemed to be a little different when it's a person's efforts, an education effort, rather than, it seems less important that somebody actually knew it was they were being nominated for something than if it's your building. I can see that there might be, people might feel it's a privacy issue or something like that if you're a building owner. But if you're doing public things specifically to outreach and provide historic information to people, that seems a little less as if it would be a surprise. That's my only comment on that.
Well, then, should we readdress that in the rules? Because the rules say that they must know and agree.
I think that criteria or that, the guideline could probably be reworked a little to say that if it's an individual's contribution, that's not a physical thing. We might have to wordsmith that a bit, though, for next year. Were you suggesting we should not make an award if neither one of them have been?
I think we should,
Okay.
but I just want to make sure that, we already approved the rules, and so next year, if the person doesn't want to know, if you want to surprise somebody, our rules don't allow for that. We're supposed to have their permission. So if we can tweak the language on the individual nomination for a human, then that would seem like you could allow for that, but, I don't.
Okay.
I just, rather than, because if you don't want to tell somebody you're nominating them and the rules say you have to, then are you going to be disqualified? Or, it's sort of I don't think it has to be that strict. It's just, we're tweaking it, we're fixing it, we've never done this, so let's get it right, and then so let's tweak the
Okay.
language, so.
Sounds good. Can I bug the subcommittee that used these rules to tweak that language on that rule for next time? All right, thank you. I got nods from both of them for those of you online.
Yes.
Can I get a verbal? This is like airplane rules. All right, so as far as the recommendation from staff, from the subcommittee rather, that the award go to Chris Anderson, are we needing discussion on that?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Hull.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Swanson. All right, please call.
Commissioner Swanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Nodland,
Yes.
Commissioner Perrin,
Yes.
Commissioner Sackerson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hall,
Yes.
and Chair Engel.
Yes. All right, thank you. Motion passes, and congratulations to Chris if you're watching. Moving on to Historic Preservation Month.
Do we, for the letter for the runner-up,
Oh,
do we decide on that?
I think we can just agree to do the letter for the runner-up. We don't need a motion for that. Yeah. Thank you.
Chair Engel,
Yes.
for that letter, yeah, I think it might be beneficial if you would also sign it. Just-
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. Crossing our Ts, dotting our Is here. Historic Preservation Month.
Chair Engel and Commissioners, at the March meeting, the Historic Preservation Commission discussed potential activities to participate in or promote for Historic Preservation Month in May. These are identified in the agenda packet. Staff and commissioners have worked on coordinating several of those activities. A draft flyer with, and I will stress draft, on that, with some of the events for the Historic Preservation Month is included in the packet. This will be updated with any additional events and to finalize some of those details on it. Staff will aim to have a proclamation presented at the April 28th City Commission meeting. And hopefully that'll kickstart the lead up to Historic Preservation Month in May. Staff recommends that the Historic Preservation Commission review and identify any additional Historic Preservation Month activities. On the screen before you, there's a QR code that's also included on that flyer, but it does link to a story map that has more resources on it. So here's just one of the components there. So it's a nice map. It has different dots that'll zoom to it depending on where they click, and it has different events or display items on there. And then you can kind of see at the very top, but it has different bookmarks for different parts of that. So it has a background on Historic Preservation Month, those activities and events that I showed on the last slide, additional ways to celebrate or different resources to look at as well. And there's links and different components where people can download. There's a couple coloring sheets that the state has, different scavenger hunts. Those various items are on there. But if there are any additional ones or the actual flyer that's included in your packet, if that gets updated with more events, this will also be updated to reflect those as well.
That sounds great, and I would probably just immediately put on there the Wilmore Open House, since that's got tie-in to all of this. And it's in May, so that's even better. Yes, Commissioner Nodland.
Can that, Chair Engel,
Yes.
can that can that Wilmore thing say that it's a or a information about the South Capital District? You know, just even like those three words or whatever, that's 5 words, if there's room?
I can look at the amount of space that we have on the actual flyer. I can include it on that printout of the flyer. For this one, I have a little bit more space to work with, so I can include more information on there. And I know that Wilmore does have its own specific flyer that they have for that event as well, so I could include that as well.
For sure. Thank you.
Chair Engel, I have another
Yes.
question. For Lauren, what is the deadline for this flyer to be finished?
Prior to May 1st.
Okay. So one thing on there, in the first line where it says literature display.
Yeah, yep.
You probably got that, but okay. So we're just kind of curious if it doesn't work out that we can have the fire display, well, then we'll substitute something else in there. So then we would want to change that language, so by May 1st. Okay.
When are we expecting an answer, Commissioner Sackerson?
Chair Engel and Commissioners, I'm waiting for a return call from Captain Anderson. I left a message and contact, firefighter schedules. Sometimes they're not in the house. So, yeah, I'll be getting that contact, and that shouldn't be more than a day or so before I get that contact.
Okay.
conversation. And Commissioner Nodlin and I discussed alternate ideas for the space, given the number of visual aids that we have accumulated over the years for Bismarck history. So we can come up with something and make it work and make it attractive. I would suggest that, do we still have those pockets, those plastic pockets that we put on the window or the door? Because I think there might be some things that we would put in those pockets, so if we can't
For a
find them
flyer
all.
handout sort of
Yeah,
things?
for the
Okay.
flyer,
Like
because
realtor
people
ones.
are right there, and so if we put some of the other things we've done there, then you're also contributing to that. And if there's, if we come up with a different scavenger hunt thing or something like that, that could also be put in there just as a fun thing.
Great. Yeah, and if the fire departments comes through and we use that one, whatever you guys do come up with as alternates, put in your back pocket for next year. So, no need to go to waste. All right.
Another question.
Yes.
So we had said last meeting that we would try and brainstorm if anybody had other ones, but I guess that one of the questions I had is, for the list, is there a particular city commission meeting when they might present the award, or are they gonna declare, Historic Preservation Month for Bismarck? Are those gonna be on the same meeting by chance?
Great question, Commissioner Nodlin, Chair Commissioners. So the plan to have the proclamation for Historic Preservation Month, that would be in April, but we can surely include it on here since it is a lead up to Historic Preservation Month. I do have an email out to Chris Anderson related to the Historic Preservation Award. So hopefully when I hear back from him to see if he's available to have it presented at either I believe it's May 14th or May 28th. I could be wrong on the dates, but the first or second city commission meetings, I would have that included in there as well.
Okay, sounds good. And then does the Bismarck Historical Society have a meeting during May?
Great question, Chair Engel. So the Bismarck Historical Society, their meeting or presentation that they typically have each month is actually the third annual Founders Day Trivia event.
Oh, okay.
So I believe that's also on the flyer there.
Yep, that is. Okay, sounds good. Does anybody else have any activities or things going on that we can include? Yes. Commissioner
Chair
Hall?
Engel, Commissioners, I reached out to the state. I was a bad person. I did it Monday. I forgot. See if there are any activities we can do like we did last time with, the window pane replacement and stuff like that. I'll follow up later this week so we can get some before May 1st. I'll just let you know, Lauren. And then I forget, were we going to work with the fire department to have some event involving the old fire truck specifically during May? And did the fire department already have something planned in May? I met with the fire chief a few weeks ago and mentioned in passing he hadn't heard anything yet. So,
Commissioner Hall, Chair Commissioners, I'm not aware of any, I guess, event in May. I could double check with them to see if there's anything. I know there's a parade in May, so perhaps that's an option. I could also check with our city administrator, who's kind of working on that project to make sure the fire truck is good to go for events this year.
yeah, I think one of the firehouses was having an open house or something coming up. But I figured, not meet and greet, and obviously kids can't crawl around, but, have some event planned around the fire truck itself.
Sounds good. Commissioner Nodlin?
Chair Engel, okay, so does anybody know the night that the band parade night is in May?
Give me a second.
If they're going to put the fire truck on a flatbed and drive it, or if they're going to, is there any way that we could have this flyer available? They're probably throwing candy. But I'm just curious if that's, with that, if we could even just tape a poster on the side of if there's a float or flatbed that said, May is, not on the actual fire truck. But if it said May is Historic Preservation Month or something like that, is there a way for us to horn in on their float?
Commissioner Nodland, Chair Commissioners, I'm not sure if they're going in the parade. If they are, I can surely ask about that and see if there's any way that we can do some promotion for that.
For sure. And if we have our QR code and
Yeah.
small cards or whatever.
Especially if we get to do a display in the window, that'd be fun.
Chair Engel, it's, the parade is May 8th.
May 8th, okay.
Yep,
Thank
Friday.
you. If we think about it for next year, I'm not suggesting this year, but next year, we might want to put our own float in the parade. So just throwing that out there. Amy would love to dress, yes, throw it out and denied. Okay, perfect. Are there any other thoughts about the May fiestas here going on?
Well,
Yes.
Sure. And we have on there a coloring book creation that we were supposed to be thinking about. I've talked to the director at the Bismarck Academy, and he suggested that the art students might be interested in doing line drawings that we could use as the background for the coloring book. There might be another way to do it if it's possible, computer-wise. They might be able to take a photograph and make a line drawing out of the photograph. But that would be something that their art and design department might be interested in trying to tackle. But it's pretty short order, but it's something we could check with them about to see how we could handle that. Otherwise, we have to come up with some other solution or strike it from the agenda, I guess.
Thank you, Commissioner Swanson.
Chair Engel,
Yes.
Commissioners, we have in the Friends of the Rail Bridge material, there was a coloring page that was produced by Rick Sprincenatic for that of the bridge. I don't think it has any text on it, but that would be a possibility if I asked those people if we could use that and perhaps maybe we need to look at just, for future,
Right.
Creating a coloring book that, not just for this month, but or for May, but for next year, that would, I think it'd be a really nice thing for kids to.
And I
for us to
think
produce.
line drawings, I'm sure
They're
the
charming.
kids nowadays can do things a lot faster than what I'm thinking they can. So if we have some pictures that we might want to see if they can play with and come up with line drawings, that would be good. Yes, Commissioner Nodland.
Chair Engel, Commissioners. I think the coloring book is in one of our grant proposals, so the book itself, but at this point, even just sheets. Most national parks and historical places just have sheets that you can download and print. So if we could use the bridge, or if we can do a couple of line drawings of historic sites in town, that seems like, and make them available on our website, that's pretty cool for now.
Yeah. Commissioner
I
Swanson.
will check and see what's possible to be done by the students up there. And like you say, if maybe it's a long-range project, maybe it's not something we crank out for this time, or we just simply do a couple of pages or something like that. But I think it's a worthy project, and if we've got it on the budget to create for the future, start now.
For sure.
Another option is the art students at the Bismarck High School anyway are usually sent out to draw buildings outside, and we might be able to lean on them a little bit too, see if they'd be interested in providing those kind of drawings for us. Paul Newt, is that his?
Yep, Paul
Yeah,
Newt.
yeah.
And we have some good examples from other cities.
We have those available.
Lauren, I sent you a few, right, of coloring sheets? with the proposal that went in. I will send them to you, but there are a lot available from other cities. I'll send them.
That would be good for examples too, if we needed to present that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chair Engel and Commissioners, if we've got something lined up, we could, if we're gonna do a booth at Wilmore, have 20 or, planning department can print out some, non-glossy. Have some for handout, because presumably there'll be children there.
I would think so. That would probably be
Hopefully it's not a bunch of adults.
I don't know. I don't mind coloring too. Yes.
If anybody knows an app or anything that does this, because I'm sure there is one, if there's an app and we could get a line drawing or a coloring page of Wilmore, that would be pretty cool.
That would be fun. I think you just volunteered to find one. Is that? Yeah. You find the picture, I'll find the app. How's that? All right. Anything else for the May events? Okay. I don't think we did anything that needed a motion. So moving on to the ND 250 Community Initiative Grant.
Chair Engel and Commissioners, in December 2025, the City of Bismarck applied for the ND 250 Community Initiatives Grant to create an art and heritage discovery trail. As a reminder, the purpose of the grant is to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the United States through inclusive community projects and events that inspire North Dakotans to renew and strengthen their democracy. The grant offers up to $10,000 for projects, which would occur in 2026 and be completed before the end of the year. In January 2026, the city was notified that the project was selected for funding. The project will create a series of art and heritage discovery signs, which will include QR codes that will link to virtual versions of local literary, visual, and performance arts. Each link will provide a narrative on the art form and will describe how it celebrates the past 250 years of North Dakota's people, places, innovations, and/or achievements contributing to the nation's story. So a call for artists was issued on March 30th, and that call is open until May 1st at 5:00 p.m. The call for artists link was attached within the packet. The project's proposed timeline is also included within the packet. A selection committee, including a representative from the Downtowners, Bismarck Mandan Convention and Visitors Bureau, Bismarck Parks and Recreation District, Dakota West Arts Council, and Dakota West Arts Council will be formed to review submissions and provide selections to the Bismarck City Commission. A representative from the Historic Preservation Commission is requested to join the selection committee. Staff recommends that the Historic Preservation Commission determine which commissioner will be on the selection committee for this project.
Thank you, Lauren. Do we have any volunteers of anybody?
I've got a question,
Yes.
Chair Engel. How did the notice to artists get distributed, and to whom did it go?
That's a great question. So it followed our typical process for like RFPs, RFQs. It is posted on the city's website where those are hosted. What you can see on the screen here with the calling all local artists and then the logos there on the left-hand side, that was also included in a small campaign on social media to send it out to individuals. It was also with the individuals who are providing a representative for the selection committee, so the Dakota West Arts Council, Downtowners. They were also asked if they could share it to members or other groups in the community that they're aware of for that as well.
Did Bismarck Art and Galleries have any input or help with that?
At this point in time, Commissioner Swanson, Chair Commissioners, Bismarck Arts and Galleries was not notified as they weren't on the selection committee. They might have been notified through Dakota West Arts Council or seen it elsewhere, but beyond that.
But we should be boosting anything that we see of that to get it out there. Okay, sounds good. Commissioner Nodland?
Chair Engel, are these for new projects that haven't been started yet?
Great question, Commissioner Nodland, Chair Commissioners. So it's open to any art. So as long as it's an original piece of art from an individual or a group of individuals, depending on how they're submitting it. It can be a previous artwork. There's some more information in the actual call for artists, but related to the ownership of the art as well, the city wouldn't be owning the art at all. The right of and ownership of the art would be staying with the artist. The city would just have the opportunity to use it and promote it through these signs as well. It can be new art if the artist chooses to, or if they haven't created something that would necessarily fit within the scope of this call for artists. However, if the art doesn't necessarily relate to the 250th, it'll still be considered, and the artist is still able to submit that artwork as well.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. Does that answer your question? Okay, great. Is there a commissioner that wants to be on the selection committee? Who's the artist among us? I nominate John Swanson.
Darn.
When does this happen, I guess, is the, when do people have to get together to do all this?
Lauren, do you have any?
Yes.
It looks like the
Have some
deadline
fun.
is May 1st, that's like 2 weeks
Oh,
from now.
well.
So,
You're going to the lake tomorrow, huh?
I'm out of here. I'm sorry.
Evaluation period by the selection committee is May 4th through the 15th. So you've got a window.
Yes, I will volunteer to do that.
Thank you, Commissioner Swanson. Was anybody going to fight him for it? No? No, okay. Just didn't want to.
We could volunteer as anchor. We could volunteer as anchor.
Sanker, yeah, he's not here, so that'd be voluntold, but John's going to do it for us, so we're good. All right, that sounds great, and looking forward to seeing all the artwork. Moving on then, unless there's more to discuss on the 250, okay. Then going to the downtown district survey, do we need to discuss more?
Just more so information, there was a memo on this, Chair Engel and Commissioners. So our consultants for the downtown district survey are in town. They're currently surveying. They did arrive yesterday and got right to it with the survey work, which is very exciting. So they will be in Bismarck till Saturday doing the survey work, as well as conducting research on different resources at the public library, the archives, potentially at the city office building here, depending on if they need plan sets for their research or anything like that. An open house is scheduled for tomorrow, so anyone in the public who's looking to, talk with our consultants or city staff on the project, or, just provide information to them. That is scheduled for tomorrow at 5:30. It'll be for an hour at the Bismarck Veterans Memorial Public Library in Meeting Room B. So commissioners and members of the public are welcome to attend and meet and converse with the consultants for that. However, anyone on the street who sees them out and about, more than welcome to talk with them as well. So just some information, public notice postcards were sent to the property owners within that survey area. Additionally, the downtowners were also notified as part of that and have offered to share the information with different members that they have within that survey area.
Great, that sounds good, and I wish them all the best. At least they have good weather now for it.
Saturday.
Yeah, until Saturday. Commissioner Sackerson.
Yeah, Commissioner Engel, Commissioners. I was up at the archives this morning at work and went out and talked with the historian, Mike, who's doing this stuff. I provided him the walking tour, the downtown walking tour map, and the hard copy of the timeline. And they were really really, can we keep them? But, yeah, they were, just sort of extra material for them to carry around, but the timeline, because they don't go on the city website because it's not their city and they haven't negotiated that, and so now they know that it's there, but he was really happy to have a hard copy of that, so sort of helps them with their own timeline, looking at it,
Great.
so.
Thank you
But
for
they
doing
seem
that.
very excited about it.
That's good. Perfect. Any other thoughts on any of that? Oh, okay. Sounds good. Is there any other business that is needing to be considered? Yes, Commissioner Nodland.
I was wondering if we could get an update on the Builders Convention.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, the last month was a blur as to what happened and when. Is there an update for the
The
home show?
The home show, sorry. Great bring up for you, Commissioner Nodland, Chair Commissioners. So we were at the 2026 Bismarck Mandan Home Builders Association Home Show on Friday and Saturday at the end of March. We had some pretty good conversations with different individuals. I think the biggest draw was the large photo of the cathedral area, which was great. It started conversations. It brought people in to, discuss, here's some different resources we have. A lot of individuals grabbed the brochures that we had. That was another big draw for them. Not too many people were interested in the National Register bulletins, but maybe next time. But I think overall we had some good conversations, and at least we're getting our name out there. So I think it was a good event in staff's opinion.
That's great. Thank you so much. Prime the pump for next year when they all want the National Register nomination bulletins.
I would just like to commend Lauren and Amy Sackerson, Commissioner Sackerson, for the work you did on that. That was amazing the way you pulled it together, and I thought it was really a good display and a good setup, in spite of the traffic being light. But
Well, and it's not bad to have copies of those preservation brief bulletins. People did look at them, they know they exist. And I think there were fewer builders walking around than there were people that wanted candy bars. But there was, the fact that those things exist is good for people to know about. And there were people that said, oh, you've got something on a tin ceiling, or, the pressed ceilings, which is something that people actually do see in Bismarck. And, oh, there's a way to, so there were, yeah, so people actually looked at some things. And
Is there anything that you guys would do differently if we're doing this again next year for a booth?
A different trade show, too.
Or a different trade show, yeah?
Put out
Candy.
candy bars.
better candy bars.
Okay.
Did you take, sorry.
Yes.
Did you take any pictures? Could you do a social media post on the city?
Commissioner Nodland, Chair Commissioners, so that's a great point. We did take several photos, and I know Commissioner Zanker made a strong point at the last meeting to take the photos and get it out there for Historic Preservation Month. So with the different social media posts that we are planning to do for the month, we'll definitely include one or two of those in there.
Sounds good. And then next year, when we're going to go back, you can start promoting our booth before the event and come see us at our booth.
When Lauren and John had put together film footage from different things showing how you did windows and a lot of different things, and frankly, they were kind of fun to watch. That's something that I think we need to make sure that we continue to do, because if you can't do stuff hands-on, it's also really a nice thing to show it. They don't have to get dirty. They can watch it, the first time. They could just watch it. Then they had to get dirty when they really do it. But it was very nice. I think it turned out very well.
Great, thank you.
Chair Engel, are there pieces of this booth that we can use at the Wilmore? Even for the open house for the downtown district?
Commissioner Nodland, Chair Commissioners. So John, Amy, and I, we did have some additional flyers that we made up. A big one, I think that was fairly popular behind the brochures, was on potential funding sources for properties. So I would suggest that one would be very helpful. Perhaps even doing, some of the bulletins as well. The porches, I know reading through some of those site forms that our consultant did in that area, there was a lot of information on, porches that still maintain their historic integrity. So perhaps those bulletins would be very beneficial as well.
Great, thank you. You never know what's going to pique people's interest, so that's good feedback for next.
Full-size candy bars.
I don't know that we've got that in our budget.
The first 10 get full-size candy bars.
Oh, I see, okay. All right. Any other business? Okay, hearing none, then we will adjourn, and the next meeting is, should have it in front of me, May something. Anybody got that date?
20th.
May 20th, thank you. Right here in the Tom Baker meeting room. Thank you all.